This new technology that we've spoken of, and all the things that's come to mainstream now, is beginning to build into a new trend. New trends such as work from home, informal workers, and even shared spaces. Omawali mentioned it. The question is, what impact does this then have on employee productivity? Or, I mean, what then does the workplace look like? I mean, I just want you to speak to that. I know you have a lot to say.
Thank you, Sheon. Thank you, Sheon. I think, and maybe I will use Union Bank as an example, because I think in many ways we are reflective of what we're seeing from organizations like ourselves. Having people work remotely is what we expect the trend to be. There are many teams today in the bank that are not customer facing, and even in some cases where you're customer facing, as long as you have a laptop and you're connected to the main system, you're able to do your work. The comment made by Edwin, the fact that you can't hide, is essentially the truth. If you have your set targets and metrics, and everyone has the tools that they're supposed to have, and they have the data, there's nothing that stops anyone from working remotely. Today at the bank, we have what we call flexi work. And because we're a bank with almost 300 sales and service centers, you expect that while we have the head office in Marina, everyone given Lagos, and there was a discussion earlier today about Lagos and traffic, if it takes 2 hours or 3 hours to come to work every day, and yet you can go to the nearest branch or work remotely from home, and you're able to do the work that you would ordinarily in a physical location, there is no reason why you can't do that. That's one of the reasons why we've invested in technology and will continue to do that. I think the other reason and the other driver for why future of work even changes is that even our customers today are more empowered. Technology has empowered customers. So there might have been a time where you would see a lot of branches, but in certain locations where customers have everything they can do on an app, or on their phone, or they can use USSD in the case of a bank, then why would they come into a banking hall for any reason? And so that means that ordinarily for those tellers or people who would work in a banking hall, their jobs and what they'll be doing will be slightly different. It might be that you're coming in to do more complex transactions, and instead of spending time collecting cash, when customers today can transfer money, they're no longer collecting cash, but they're dealing with you on maybe you need to buy an investment, maybe you need to set up a trust or an estate. That's what would happen with technology and the future of work. So people will work remotely depending on what jobs they have to do. And for those who can't work remotely, even then the work that you do in a physical space is also very different. I would use the time to even talk in specific details, because I heard Mwale saying, yes, there'll be less jobs in some ways. But I would also say that maybe part of it is that what you do today, and I think you alluded to this, will also be different. So today you have, and I'll give a perfect example. We at the bank have implemented robotics. So what does robotics mean? It means that if there's an ATM today, what would happen is you have to wait a specific time in the point of day to download and reconcile the ATMs. And you would need either somebody behind the scenes to go and download all the transactions, and also sometimes physically count cash. Now you don't have to do that, because there's a virtual robot who behind the scenes takes all of that data very quickly in less than an hour, reconciles that ATM, and the ATM is back up and running. So it means that really what the ATM custodians and the people looking after the channels are watching is whether the uptime of that ATM is back up and running within a certain time, but they don't have to physically run from one ATM or the other to say whether the ATM is operational, whether it's down, whether it's out of cash, because you have all of the technology and the data. So when you think about the skills in an environment, today and even tomorrow, a lot of the skills is around how do I take the data and the insight and the intelligence and make effective decisions. You're no longer required, and you don't need the skills to do all the analysis yourself. It's really taking the intelligence that you're getting, because there are models that will be telling you exactly what the correlation is between X and Y. But it's really now, what do I do with that information? Now that I know that X and Y are positively correlated, what do I then do? Do I go out and sell X to a customer? Do I position to market a certain way? All that information leads us to decision making. So if you think about the skills in the workplace, beyond the setup of the environment, but knowing the consumers out there, whether you're a teacher, you're a student, understanding how they behave will also dictate the types of talent that you have in the workplace and how you structure your workforce, your workplace to deal with the talent that's coming in.